listening to the Pittsburgh Pile Driver. What the hell is that? Podcast.
It's Thursday again, and it's time for more P3 action coming into your face hole, Facehausen, Danhausen, something different. We've got apparently wrestling things to talk about. We're actually going to do an episode where we don't have picks. More than half of us haven't pooped out and fallen asleep because we're old, Beef and Ransom. So we're actually going to do a thing with four of us here, not doing picks, actually talking about some form or fashion of wrestling. So we'll see how that goes. It's hot as balls. I'm outside walking. I might break into the I got something in my eye. A bug flew into my eye. Oh, the thing in my eye is a face. I might break into some summer shandy, depending on how long this goes. I might get face. I might fall over to my driveway, or I might decide to give my driveway a Ric Flair knee drop and severely bruise my patella. It's all up in the air. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Let's get this shit show on the road. Diesel power, bitch. Tiger Bomb Tom is here.
No.
Something different. No, that was right. That wasn't. Tiger Bomb Tom is here. Beef Till It Shut Up is here. Poot the Bird is here. Bye, Tara.
Yeah.
See you never. Whew. That's a nice brisk airflow from the garage. Shut this door. Thank you. Who all did I introduce? Beef, Poot, you two idiots.
Quit holding them.
Shut up. Tiger Bomb Tom is here.
Quit holding them.
The champion still within the P3 for now. I'm concerned, worried, fearful. I'm fretting, not looking forward to one of these dingleberries from outside the podcast. Welcome back, Tara. Good to see you. Stealing this title from us. Not looking forward to it, but, you know.
Well,
I guess we'll see what happens.
You mentioned that, Ransom, because, the PC, the Choose Wide Open's canceled for this quarter. Sorry, everybody.
Sweet. I love it.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Championship is held up. We're going to have a ladder match in quarter three for it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to your retaining Chooseway champion, Tiger Bomb Tom.
Yeah, suck
you
it
can all
easy.
suck it, because still the champion here.
I love it.
Nerds. Listen, before we get started with all that you idiots have to say, because you always have stuff to say, and I'm just along for the ride, I'm going to say something now, and we're going to talk about a topic that I want to talk about, and then you could talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. How's that sound? I'm not interested in how that sounds. I'm going to do it anyway.
That was a rhetorical question. That's why I stayed silent.
Yeah, he knows. See? The wise champion rules wisely, and that's why he has the belt, and we don't. You hear that, Pat? So, for those of you who watched Clash of the Castle, you saw CM Punk referee his way into screwing Drew McIntyre out of the World Heavyweight Championship. I am so looking forward to a healed up CM Punk starting a feud with actual wrestling with Drew McIntyre. Like, this just has all the feels of a 2024 Brett versus Shawn style angle. Like, I love it. I love how they're working it. It's perfect. Like, if you could,
good. Finish your thought.
if you could chef's kiss something, like storyline wise right now, and CM Punk hasn't even wrestled Drew McIntyre yet. Like, I'm not a CM Punk apologist like Beef. I can find fault in the fellow. But I gotta say, even though CM Punk hasn't wrestled yet, this feud that they're building and working on between these two is some of the most, like, engaging and magnetic storytelling that they have going on right now. I'm going to be honest, I'm much less interested in what Cody Rhodes is doing, and I'm much more interested in where the Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud is going to go. Like, whoever is coming up with these ideas for these two, whether it's Drew or Punk or H or a combination of all three, they're nailing it. They're knocking it out of the park. When the blood feud between these two come to fruition, it's probably going to be some of the best in-ring storytelling that we've seen since Cody working his way up against the Bloodline and Hollywood Rock 2.0. Like, I'm telling you, I'm so here for it, and I'm very much looking forward to when CM Punk gets a clean bill of health, because I think once he does, this feud is going to pop off, and they could probably carry this feud for a good, 3-4 top tier PLEs. Like, it doesn't have to be like one match or two matches and done. Like, it can carry. I think it has the legs to be able to have some decent longevity to it and continue to keep fans engaged and hungry for more.
I feel really bad for Drew McIntyre because he is killing it right now. And I mean, to be honest, he's been killing it for a while now. I think it was egregious that he didn't beat Roman last year at Clash of the Castle. I understand why. I think that would have been a smaller moment than Cody, but I think it would have been just as kind of poignant. But I understand,
Bigger
from their
picture.
eyes. Yeah. I think it's foolish for him to lose in Scotland against Priest. And I know that I picked Priest to win.
Yeah.
And this is going back to weeks ago, where they announced that the winner of King and Queen of the Ring would have shots at the title of SummerSlam, and I'm like, why? Why book yourself into a corner at that point? Like, SummerSlam's fucking 2 months, almost 3 away at that point. Why say definitively this is happening? King and Queen of the Ring should already mean a lot. I don't think it needed that extra oomph. You could have just said for a future title shot, which we all kind of expected anyway.
Now, but then I think the reason that they might not do that. I'm sorry, Beef. I know I apologize. I think the reason that they might have done it this way is because if you do it that way for a future title shot, it kind of gives the same vibe as Money in the Bank.
I guess. And the Royal Rumble. I get it. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Look,
here's
sorry, I'm going to interject. I barely ever get a chance to run a topic here. So look, think of it this way. I hear what you're saying about Drew getting the shaft. I feel that, I see that, and I acknowledge that. But he just re-signed a contract. So that tells me, sorry about that. That tells me that they have something in the works for him that he's pleased about. Whether it's just a big pile of money to just keep doing what he's doing, or the chance to actually win the big one in front of a big crowd and actually hold it. Not like this previous year's WrestleMania where he got cashed in on. So I trust that WWE has some good plans for him, because, if you're unhappy being there, why would you re-sign? But he did. And not to mention, this is just not just, but we're already in June. We're already at the end of June. It's June 20th. So we've got 6 months left till December, 7 months left until Rumble, and then just a couple more months until Mania again. And Drew and Punk haven't even wrestled a match yet. So there's still plenty of time for the feud to start up, and then Punk to break off, win the World Heavyweight Championship from Damian Priest, carry that into Mania. Maybe Drew gets to win the Royal Rumble, and then Drew beats.
And so that was kind of where my point was going. We know Gunther's winning at SummerSlam. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's winning at SummerSlam, so he can go into Bash in Berlin as the World Heavyweight Champion. With good reason. Like,
Fine
I am
point.
not
Yeah.
begrudging Gunther one bit. Like, give that man his flowers. He is the top echelon of the wrestling world today. So absolutely, if it were me, I would have booked him to win the world title in Berlin as opposed to defending at Berlin. Whatever. I guess comme ci, comme ça. Here's the thing, though. This whole thing has booked him into a corner because I think, like you think, that the hottest thing they have going right now is McIntyre and Punk. Punk is like, I think, their second highest merch seller behind Cody. So like, and like Drew is in the best heel work of his life right now. This whole angry, like, pissed off Drew McIntyre, the Drew McIntyre that I can get behind. It's very reminiscent of how he was in NXT, which worked. And then it came to the main roster, and he was like that for a minute, and then he became a schmaltzy babyface, and that's why it didn't work.
Right.
So like, he's hitting at the next level. Punk is Punk. Punk will always be Punk for all of his fucking negatives, and there are a lot of them. He is also a fucking, like, dude who gets eyes, dude who moves money, and dude who brings big fight feels. So, of course, these two, and they're both, I think, very gifted, athletically and in the ring, and I think that they both have a mind for the business. So, of course, this is, coming up amazing. All that being said, like, man, how good would it be if this was for the title at SummerSlam versus Gunther getting the fait accompli and then having a Cody Rhodes reign? And yes, I'm going to start saying that now, where we're like, oh, this is great. Gunther's finally champion, and I'm bored.
No.
Like, honestly, so here's the pivot that I would have made. And I'll let you other two Jagoffs have your piece here in a minute. But here's the pivot that I would have made. As opposed to locking in Gunther and Nia Jax to their respective brands for the championships, I would have had Gunther challenge and beat Cody at SummerSlam. I think that Cody's a better chaser than he is a champion. I think that Gunther is an amazing champion. And I think that Cody working his way back to the top to dethrone Gunther at WrestleMania is a better story than this fucking final boss shit. But The Rock is, The Rock is the new Vince McMahon. So what The Rock says goes, and what The Rock wants goes, and that's going to be that. So The Rock thinks that there's money in Cody versus The Rock at WrestleMania 2025.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's why his daughter is still employed at NXT, because she clearly can't wrestle and she's clearly not good on the mic.
Yeah, I know, but if they keep her, if they
shots fired,
she's getting better.
They give her it's the thing. It's like, keep her off TV, give her time, let her learn.
Yeah, give her another 20 years. She'll have a good match. It'll be great. We can call it quits.
I think me and maybe Tom are probably the only two that watch NXT on like a serial basis. I think that she is killing it as general manager in NXT. I really like the position for her, and I think it's putting her in a position to win.
Yeah, well, when you can't wrestle, you sit behind a desk and play manager.
I mean, no one had a problem with Bobby Heenan, right?
There's if you're comparing Bobby Heenan to Little Rock, you can fuck right the hell off, sir.
I'm not. I'm saying that there's a place for everybody.
No,
you're dumpster.
I mean, I don't know what else you would do with her. Like, I didn't catch her while she was part of the faction there with Joe Gacy before they fucking killed.
Wasn't great.
Yeah, before they killed Schism. Yeah, that.
Wasn't great.
And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what it is about her, but every time she talks, I can't stand her face. I can't.
She's got a juju face.
She's got pan face.
Her actual mouth. It's like there's enough of this, like. I'm not trying to like fucking sit here and be like, oh, she's fucking butt ugly, blah 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 blah. Like, no. but there's something.
It's fine, say it.
There's something weird. She just has a very weird face when she talks, and it's like she has enough of this overbite that like it's distracting to me. I don't know what it is. Like,
so what you're saying is you're saying is put a Christian green dot over her face.
That's like when Ransom would watch when Ransom would watch fucking Mia Yim matches. He's like, her boobs are always uneven.
I always said that too. Yeah, she had like uniboob.
Look,
did
man,
kind of weird.
If Charlotte can go from like, dumpy little flair
guys.
to, fake plastic not looking so much like Rick, with the Rock's bankroll, you can fix your face. So fucking fix your face. And, before anybody out there gets all like, oh, Ransom's being offensive, A, off is the direction in which you can fuck. Thank you, The Rock. And B, if I had all the money in the world, do you not think I'd fix my dumpy looking ass too? Like, go get high. If you're halfway in between like knockout and if you had all the money in the world, don't you think you'd go out there and make yourself a little bit better looking? You fucking would. And don't tell me that you'd sit around looking like a bag of dog ass when you had the money to go and fix your fucking face. If I could, I would. She can, she could.
All that to say though, even like with her playing this the general manager role on NXT, she's still not that great on the mic. Like,
thank you.
You're right.
The shit feels forced. It doesn't like she feels like she's memorized like scripts and stuff like that. Other people, it just doesn't feel natural. It feels forced. I'm not here for it. Like, I think I don't know. I hope she gets better.
But
like,
still saying talent skips a generation, right? Is that the saying?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, you could say that about what was his name, old Curtis Axel or whatever the actual.
Oh,
boy.
Come on, man.
No, I think that was just
my
bad.
children are going to be
You're gonna
so
sit here.
talented.
You guys are gonna sit here and talk about uniboob and overbites, but the second that I mentioned that guy was as flat as a piece of paper, you guys are just gonna be like, whoa, man.
Well, you're not wrong. He did.
Son of a fucking legend here.
He was as floppy as that guy.
That man was better than perfect, and you know it.
I don't know. I was gonna say,
he should have been.
Hold on.
He should have been.
Hold on. Look at what's the excuse then? Like, so if talent skips a generation, you got Dusty, and then you got Cody, and you got Dustin. So did it just skip just one?
Yeah, Dustin. Yeah, Dustin's dog water. You're right.
Yeah,
No,
but not Cody. So
no, I mean I get it. Like,
anyways.
I think like that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek saying. But we're way up. Like, I don't know how we got to fucking Ava. But like, we're way off topic. Come on, bring us back.
But yeah, how the hell did we get to that?
About?
We're talking about Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and then Beef just got done.
Yeah, Beef
with his
Cody and
booking.
Gunther.
Well, he got done with his booking tirade, which is clearly why Beef lives in Freeport and Triple H lives in a McMansion, because Beef knows better than Triple H. What's that saying that a punk always says? Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'm just saying. To me, it was a bad decision because I think that this is the hottest angle that you have going right now. And yes, I know that not every hot angle needs the title, but man, like how much better would this angle feel with a title on it? How much better would Gunther's win feel over Cody? I think we can all agree that Cody's miring right now, like doing nothing for nobody. Like,
well,
but he had a fun segment in the back with AEW rejects that was, chuckly. Ha ha ha! You guys are in a good place.
Well, yeah, I no disparaging to Cody. I love Cody, and I still think he's a good choice. But like, what they're doing with him right now sucks.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you, but give it time. I think they only have so much more that they can milk out of this bloodline thing, which is what they're gonna do because they brought in the other members and kind of have this rebuilt bloodline, bloodline 2.0 or whatever. And
it's funny. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like with Beef saying, Cody's kind of fallen a little flat. I've got a sinking feeling in my stomach that when Roman comes back and reunites with the Usos and OG Bloodline takes on New G Bloodline, like I'm willing to bet that all eyes go away from Cody and all onto that.
Do you think that maybe the reason that Cody is, in using the term that's being thrown around right now, miring, do you think the reason why that's happening is because think about what he came off of? Think about it.
Yeah.
The grandiose nature. It's that giant story payoff, money shot that you have. You got to give him time to cool down a little bit. It has to cool down because it can't run at that level all the time.
Peaks and valleys.
Well, it's the problem is you can't fabricate what we had around WrestleMania time with Cody. You cannot fabricate that. That has to happen organically over time, over a long period of time. He reached the top of the mountain. The champion is sitting there and sitting pretty. He's sitting pretty. He has, matches here and there. He does his thing. It's just letting it chill because the threat is gone for now.
Right.
And I understand it's not just The Rock. I'm talking about any threat to Cody at the moment is really an afterthought, and that's how it should kind of be. He should be the man to beat. He should be the man that's on the top of the mountain and sitting there going, "Come at me, bro." It's that kind of it's that sort of thing. I think it's okay, and I think it's okay to not go immediately. More of that now, right now. And if it doesn't happen, dog water. More.
Yeah, you're not right.
I think
here's the thing that I think you run into a lot though, with especially people like Cody, where heels have, in my opinion, an easier time with longevity with title reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's just something about a heel that allows them to keep the crowd engaged and hold on to that title for a long period of time. Faces can do it too, but only certain types of faces. Badass anti-hero faces like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He can hold on to the title for a long time because that stays interesting. Not smarmy and smirky, that's not it. Kind of like the, in your face, almost bully type, like how The Rock was when he was a face and he was the champ. You can hold on to the title a while with that. Cody is the smiling, I'm wearing a suit, I'm coming out, I'm all smiles, I'm such a good guy, over the top, you're trying to be Superman with that little curly Q haircut, hands on your hips in the Superman pose, big smile, all American. That's great. But that has a very finite shelf life on it because that gets boring very fast. White meat babyface champions don't have the longevity that the heels do or the badass anti-heroes. It's just, when you look back in history, those type of champions don't stay champions long because it burns out. And when they don't let it burn out, you have people like John Cena. John Cena was the last one that they had that was all smiles, I'm the good guy, I'm the goodest boy. And they rammed it down people's throats. And it lasted for a while where people cheered John Cena and they loved him. But then they were tired of him. But instead of letting him go away, switching him heel or giving the title to somebody else, they continue to jam him down people's throats. Now, I'm assuming they did that because he moved a lot of merch, and that's fine. Good for him. They saw positive. He was a big merch mover. But the loudest part of the audience didn't want him there anymore. But they continued to ram him down everybody's throat. And I think that's what you're going to find that happens with Cody. Cody will probably continue to still move merch, but if they continue to ram him down people's throats as the smiling, pearly white baby face, people are going to turn on him and going to start.
I don't think they'll wait to pull the trigger on heel Cody, though. That's the difference.
Yeah, give me Codelander. I agree. But this
Codelander.
This feels very much like Brett in '92 or Drew in COVID, where you had the guy that they want hit that precipice, and they're like, "Yes, we got him. Now what?" And it wasn't till Brett's second, third, fourth title reigns that he really started to really be a good champion. I'd say same with Drew. Like, his first title run with the WWE title wasn't great. And then like I think that, since then I think he's been really good. But like I think all baby faces need to hit that mark, hit that like the fans are tired of us thing, and then regroup. Have some Brett had Yoko, for example, that he had to climb that mountain. Drew had, Drew had, the fucking everything, according to him. So like, I think you need that, and I think that Cody needs that, and that's what I'm saying. Not to kind of harp on the point, but to harp on the point, I think that Gunther beating Cody at SummerSlam would have been a great thing because it would have given Cody that like strong need. This point of like, fuck, I fucked it up, and you got to work back. So I don't know, like and again, like it's a moot point. It's not going to happen. So whatever. But like I think it should have, because again, then you could have had Drew versus Punk for the heavyweight title at SummerSlam, and then I think that both would have been gangbusters. I'm willing to let him cook with both of these things. It's looking like reportedly Cody and Orton at SummerSlam, which is, how much I like Randy Orton.
It'll be a good match.
Dude, listen, Orton's doing awesome stuff right now, man. Come on. Give him his flowers. Give him his
really
flowers.
is.
I'll say this. I saw an excerpt on I think it was on X with Gargano and Ciampa, and Ciampa was talking about how much he fucking hates Orton.
I saw that.
And like and he's like, I'm gonna go hit Orton with an RKO out of nowhere, and Gargano's like, right now? And he's like, yeah. And they're like walking around the ringside area before like the show or whatever, and Orton's on the other side of like the ring, kind of like stewing, and
he's on his phone.
Yeah. Ciampa goes, RK out of nowhere! Runs and like jumps off the steps, and Orton just fucking pulls a Samoa Joe and walks away. And fucking Ciampa drops it.
It was great.
Oh, it was so good.
It was one of the most entertaining things I've seen in a while. It was quite funny.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I don't have Twitter/X. Never have, probably never will, because it's
don't.
For
it's
all,
a cesspool.
For all intents and purposes, I've heard it's nothing but a cesspool dumpster fire. So I'm good.
It's social media is.
It's basically angry. Yeah. It's angry conservatives in porn. That's pretty much what X is.
That's great. But yeah, I mean,
it's like the polar opposite of Facebook.
That sounds way more. But the problem is that sounds way more entertaining than it actually is, though. Like, oh, angry fucking, angry left wingers and fucking porn. Okay, and then you get there and it's like, oh, this is all bullshit and stupid, and I hate it.
No, angry. He's angry.
I hate it all. Thanks.
That'd be angry right wingers and porn. Either way.
Yeah.
My bad. My B.
Any angry extreme on any. Neither is good, but regardless, I digress.
It makes you go,
Yeah, I digress. No, I saw that bit. That was great. I get certain things sent to me from other people that catch it on Twitter and stuff like that. But no, I mean, I'd look forward to the Cody and Orton match, because there's, even if, like, again, like we've said, even if it's predictable, doesn't mean it'll be bad. There's a natural built-in storyline there between Cody and Orton. So it makes sense. Even if it's predictable, even if we know that Orton's not going to beat Cody or whatever, it makes sense.
Maybe he will.
Maybe he will. You never know.
Never know.
Yeah, I don't know. Never say never in this fucking era, because who knows? Triple H is cooking, man. He's cooking. He's firing.
Well, The Rock is cooking.
Well, Triple H is fucking firing.
I ain't faking. Cylinders. You smell what The Rock is baking.
Oh.
Okay. I'm
glad immediately everybody was like, all right, we're walking away from that one.
But honestly, like,
he's
that's
bacon,
my
brother,
fear.
Bacon.
That's my fear. Triple H is like, what if Cody's, like, all his lost moment is Randy Orton? Like, do we really need Randy Orton with one more title run?
I could care less either way, honestly.
Do we really need CM Punk with one more title run?
Salient point. Man makes a salient point.
I mean, if Randy Orton has one more title run, it's one step closer to him knocking fucking gropey McFucking drunk face out of the record books. But I mean, that'll never happen.
Swinging.
Yeah, now that Triple H is in charge, no one's ever gonna get better than Ric Flair's record ever, unless it's Triple H himself.
Yeah.
Never say never.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, Ransom, to circle back to your OG point, absolutely. I think that McIntyre and Punk is killing it, and I am very interested to see where this whole like Drew McIntyre quitting thing goes.
I have a question.
He'll be back.
It's gonna have him go to TNA. That's what's gonna happen.
Dude,
Say his name.
Oh,
No, hold on.
And
Wait,
he appears.
wow.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
No, so
Galloway.
I have a question though. You brought up a good point, Beef. Whenever you said about the King and Queen of the Ring being kind of locked into this stuff. So I obviously, it's well documented, don't get to follow Raw and SmackDown. So on the women's side of things, that'll put Nia Jax against whoever's champ, assuming
Bayley.
it's still Bayley at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, they're not taking that belt off of Bayley.
I was gonna say, what are they doing with Bayley? How are things cooking over there right now? Like, is it just that we have a lack of like really good heels for our babyface champs, Cody and Bayley, if that's the case, or like I agree with Poot's point where like you can't run it like 100 miles an hour the entire time. Like, there's got to be peaks and valleys. You're gonna have some fucking downtime after this big huge high that Cody came off of, finishing the story and everything. It was organic, it worked, it made sense, it was a great moment. So of course anything immediately after it is gonna feel significantly smaller, but I'm sure they're gonna build back up to something a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But like, do you think that's the problem? Like, do you feel they just don't have enough viable heels to really like feel like an actual threat to Cody's title reign? Like AJ Styles. Like, don't get me wrong, AJ Styles is great, but I wasn't for a minute thinking that they were gonna take the title off of Cody and put it on AJ. So is that maybe the issue?
I mean, I don't think that there's a lack of heels. I just think that they're languishing, man. Like, you have, fucking Priest is a heel, McIntyre is a heel. They're both on Raw. I think that Punk could really channel his heel stuff. He's on Raw. Braun Breaker, I think, is going to be like your next breakout heel. He's on Raw. Like, I think the heels are there. Same with the women's division. I think that Tiffy is a great heel, and she's,
He's on Raw.
No, she's well,
No, she's on
in
Ludwig.
fucking
Lucky
catering, because they're like, hey, you're getting these big pops. Let's do something with you. Just kidding. Go eat some food in the back. I know they're working on. You can't have everything immediately. I get it, but I think, to me, I think that Tiffany Stratton would be a great kind of foil for Bayley. I think that she would be the kind of person that could easily kind of weasel the way out, into that title.
You think?
And have Bayley chase it for a couple months.
You think maybe that we get Tiffy as your women's Money in the Bank winner? Because I think that would be a good. I think.
Absolutely.
I like. Obviously, like, it always makes sense, in my opinion, to have a heel win Money in the Bank, because it feels like more of a threat. Like, because they really could become the ultimate opportunist, and just really cash it in anytime, anywhere. When you have a face win the Money in the Bank, it's
boring.
A little bit, but it's like Ransom said, like and I agree with him. Like it's easier to be a heel and get over with the crowd, whether you're being cheered or being booed. Like whether you're being absolutely fucking just despised, or you eventually kind of become like the cool heel, a la Adam Cole or anything like that. But like it's so much easier being a heel because you basically can do whatever you want. Where when you're a babyface, well, no, you don't want to. You have to be careful of what you say on the mic and actually what you do in the ring to a certain degree. I know there's varying things you get allowances for. Like it's one of those things. Like if you're a babyface, you're not going to be fucking eye gouging and fucking thumb poking people. Whatever, but if you're the babyface,
Unless you're Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hogan did it for fucking years, decades even.
Well, yeah.
Back rake.
Yeah, but once you're a babyface and you kind of like
back rake, leg drop, 2 moves of doom. Back rake, leg drop, 2 moves of doom. Sorry.
But like eventually, when you're a babyface and you get like pushed to the breaking point or something, like you snap, you retaliate, whatever, and then you can have carte blanche to do whatever the fuck you want for a small period of time. So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of like I think it's a little bit of like what Beef said. Like a lot of the big heels are on Raw, and like. Who are your big heels on SmackDown? Well, it's the Bloodline, and then who? Like, help me out.
Turn on.
What's that?
Sorry, I was helping my wife with something. I mean,
turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit angry.
I don't think that there are a lot of heels on SmackDown right now, other than AJ Styles, which is, admirable, I guess. Which Mello I think is going to get there, but man, he still needs some time, I think.
That's surprising. For sure. I mean, I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but it surprised me a little bit.
He's just young. Yeah, he's just young.
It's jitters, I think. But I think him and Braun are absolutely, and Ilya are going to be the future. Like they're the guys that are being kind of targeted for like that next, the next man up thing.
Yeah, what the hell are they doing with Ilya? He's on Raw, right?
Yeah, he actually was just put into the Money in the Bank qualifier match on Monday because Chad Gable's dead. So
well, Chad Gable being dead, that's a shame. By the way, rip Chad Gable.
Yeah, man. I saw something where they're like, they've announced that they're doing the first hour of Raw commercial free for all the 10 bell salutes they'll have to do.
Is that our segue? Should we talk about it?
Absolutely, man. Let's
we should.
The fucking buzzard in the room, man. Let's fucking go.
Oh man, I've been waiting for it, man. I've been waiting to see this come to fruition. I want to get Ransom's opinion first because I know we've been talking about it in the chat, and I know his stance is a little bit off the beaten path of ours. And I'm not even not that it's a bad thing, but I think it's just that I'd say collectively we're a little bit more excited, and he's approaching it with cautious optimism, as Poot would have put it.
Can't talk right now, Poop, and go ahead.
Okay.
Gross.
Can I? Mine is just there's two things to this for me. Cautious optimism, I think, is important, but hear me out on this. The reasons why I'm excited is, number one, from how they did this. This was something that was presented in a very unique manner. This was something that was given a lot of time to bake and cook, in the sense of they didn't. This wasn't something that was decided slapdash. The look of all the people involved, the masks, the way that they were presenting themselves as characters, not slapdash, all very deliberate. From the reference to the door being open, the lantern being there, Sister Abigail, aka Nikki Cross, crawling out, and holy fuck! For a second, I thought, "Fuck, did they get Abaddon?" For the way she was moving, I was like, "Holy shit!" I thought for a brief moment, I thought it was Abaddon, but the fact that they made it feel like it had urgency, it had like they didn't pull the punches on the fucking B horror of it all with people like very clearly fake blood on their heads, but like Chad Gable being dead. There was a big blood splatter on the wall. Like they were violent with this.
Yeah, they were.
This was something that was a very calculated decision to go, okay, anyone who's out there who might be skeptical of this, we're not fucking around here. Like, this is what we're presenting them as. We're presenting them as literal killers. And this is a big deal. We want to do this right. It gave me chills. And I literally sat here watching the playback because I still can't watch Raw live. I literally went, oh! Like I literally went, oh! I was so excited. And it really seems like this idea is being carefully curated and carefully taken care of. Now, that has to be shown going forward. You have to put the same love, care, and attention into what's happening. And I think after watching the Bray Wyatt documentary, I think with Bo being a big voice in this, obviously, and wanting to carry on the idea and the vision that Wyndham had for this. And I love the fact that they're calling it the Wyat Sicks, the SICKS. That's brilliant. That's fucking brilliant. And the people that they have involved with this, they have not only, in the case of like Rowan, having an emotional stock in it, from being so close with Wyndham, but having the characters that are presumed involved in this, like Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, they are the right type of people to do this. I am very excited to see what they do. I'm very excited to see how they're going to be used. And I saw a Facebook post saying, this is fantastic. What they need to do is protect these characters the way that Undertaker and Kane were protected.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the Attitude, and then moving forward, during the peak time of those characters, and even the Undertaker. The Undertaker, I mean, pretty much his whole entire fucking career. But like, they need to be protected and kind of cherished to continue this. I am excited, and it gave me goosebumps. I love it. That's what I have to say.
I would echo everything that Poot said, and I would say I really get the feeling, and again from back before all the QR codes and everything started, there was a lot of talk too about the YouTube channel Dreadmare, that I've heard people say that it was Bo Dallas Taylor's channel. I heard somebody say it was a fan made, but I was like, if you ever watched the videos on there, man, the production quality was way, way too good to be a fan made. Now, don't get me wrong. I know people are very creative and very talented nowadays and can do. I've seen some very, very good fan made projects of different things, from videos to video games and everything of the such. But if you go back and watch that stuff, some of the stuff off of there, and then kind of like, start piecing everything together, it really feels like that they're gonna do right by Bray, and they're really gonna, I think they're gonna protect this vision and these characters and everything like that, and the people that are involved. I like to I also like how Nikki Cross was the Sister Abigail. I know there's probably a lot of people that probably speculated, SummerSlam coming back to Cleveland, and maybe Alexa Bliss would join the fold, and there's probably people that were like, keep her the fuck away from it, and a smattering of whatever in between, I'm sure. But it also kind of makes sense too for Nikki Cross, because she had that, that little bit of a run-in and stuff with everything whenever Alexa Bliss started being possessed. So you essentially can have some like long-term storytelling. You can backtrack it a little bit and connect some dots if you want to try to make those dots connected. Or you just it's a whole new character, and it's whatever, and I'm here for that too. Regardless, I think they're gonna do right. I also like the different little nods that they had. It was brought to my attention. So like Bo / Uncle Howdy was wearing the same types of gloves that the Fiend wore, with the like hurt heel, but it just has Bray on it instead of the hurt or heel. The back of Rowan's mask actually has kind of like a homage to Luke Harper, like from whenever they were in the Bludgeon Brothers. So there's all these different little nuances and things like that. And I like Poot said, I'm here for it. I'm excited. And again, I know it's been out for quite some time now. But for anybody that still has not seen the documentary, I highly recommend that you go back, watch it, and then dive into this and just fucking enjoy the ride, because I think we're in for something special.
I was very vocal that, and like I knew that nothing was going to change, but I was very vocal in saying that I didn't think that the Wyat Sicks needed to happen, that Uncle Howie didn't need to come back, and that I think it was best served kind of like leaving it in the what if stage. Knee-jerk reaction, I take it all back. I think that they handled it the exact right way. I think they did exactly what needed to happen with them. They made them feel like a big deal. They made them feel like a huge deal. I think the biggest thing with with Bray's final run and the Uncle Howdy stuff, the two things I had were how hokey Uncle Howdy looked, and like the fact that like there was just nothing to connect them. Like Bray was just talking for a while and didn't wrestle much. Now we kind of understand why, that Bray was really going through some fucking shit. And we get why there wasn't like a lot of like, sewing together that kind of stuff. Seeing Uncle Howdy on Monday, like he was not the same character. The mask was similar, I think different, but similar. But like that like hokey, terrible blonde wig, gone. Like the getup, way more believable, and very much a in reference to Wyndham, like very much saying, like the gloves, for example, the white threads, all of these things were things that like were callbacks to Wyndham as Bray. And I think they pulled it off in a much better fashion. My only concern is this. I can't imagine trying to wrestle in that gear. Uncle Howdy, Mercy, fucking Rowan, Ramblin' Rabbit, that is, Huskus. Like, I can't imagine those things.
I don't think they'll wrestle in the gear. Like Uncle Howdy might wear the mask and the wig, but I don't.
That's
I really,
disappointing.
yeah.
That's then I'm disappointed because I think that once you have Dexter Loomis's face as opposed to Mercy the Mother's face, I think it breaks the illusion. Yeah, and that's a tough thing. Because especially because I'm with Tom. I think that much of the metaphysical and supernatural needs to be protected about this.
If I can interject real quick, Beef, I will
Absolutely.
say that I get exactly where you're coming from, and it is the same thing that I worried about too when I really go back and look at it. And I think they touched on it, if I remember correctly in the documentary, is like the Fiend was such an amazing, fucking awesome spectacle, but how does it translate into a wrestling match? That's the problem you run into, where like, and I bring up this example because we've made the kind of what could have been the next Phenom and the next whatever, in Bray, in bringing up the Undertaker. Like, yeah, he had that metaphysical sort of presence, but it could still translate into a wrestling match somehow, some way. That's the one thing that concerns me. That's the one thing that I'll sit here and like kind of hold my breath on, because while everything backstage and stuff, like the fucking chaos and destruction looked amazing, and again, like if you're a fan of horror and stuff like that, like this looked fucking great. But how's it going to translate once we get into bringing it into the wrestling ring? That's the challenge. That's the biggest challenge I think that they're going to face. And I think like you kind of have to do it almost like, I'd say the best example I could say as of recent memory would be like in protecting it would be like how they protected the Demon for Finn Balor down in NXT. So if you can take that same kind of care and then some with it, I think they'll be okay. But that's the biggest hurdle I think they'll face. Go on. That was what I wanted to bring in there.
I would like to see like lucha style masks for them. Something that's like wearable in the ring. Face paint I think would be fine too. But like I definitely don't want like, oh, there goes Huskus's mask and it's Joe Gacy. Oh, hey, look, it's Mercy. Nope, it's just Dexter Loomis. Like, we know who they are. All right, like that's we know who they are. I want to see them transform. Like, I don't want to see Joe Gacy. I don't want to see Dexter Loomis. I don't want to see Nikki Cross. As much as I enjoyed all of those characters, I want to see them evolve. And I want to see what they do now. And yes, like you said, like how does it become a wrestling thing? That was always the problem with the whole Uncle Howdy shtick and the Bray shtick. Like, is that it did not translate at all. And like I appreciate what he was trying to do, and I'm bummed that we're gonna never get. And I think in a way this is gonna kind of be seeing it through to the end. But like I just like there was just too much fluff, not enough fucking steak, So, that's my concern right now. Like, yes, like first blush, my God, was that awesome. Like it was definitely a very fucking like indie horror vibe. Which honestly, I'm surprised they went that hard. If I'm being honest, I with the Netflix deal coming up, and with things kind of like being in, I won't say nebulous, but it's still a very fresh thing. I was shocked that they went that hard with it. I think they needed to, and they pulled it off well. But I just feel like, and here's kind of last thing I'll say before Ransom gets his point in. Like, I know we as marks are always worried about like what's next. Like that's what basically our first segment was talking about what's next and the worry for what's next. And we get lost in that to the point where we lose focus on enjoying the now. And I think this year has been great. A great example of enjoying the now. Enjoying the events for what they are. And enjoying the moments, and don't get fucking marky about it, or I guess smarky about it. Like, don't think about the future. Enjoy what's happening now, and let the future be the future. Ransom?
I like how you ended your little beat off fest there with the whole like, well, I know what Ransom's point's going to be, so I'm going to say, don't worry about the future. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Let me tell you this. Here's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the three of you. If you were ever wild animals who lived in the wild, you would definitely need a farmer to look after you because you're sheep and you'd be eaten by wolves because you don't know any better. And you just don't know how to survive in the wild. You're the worst. So living in the now, enjoying the now.
I was a Life Scout.
That's great. It's not going to do you a dang bit of do good thing. That's great. But here's the problem. You're still going to go into the future with, oh, here's how I would have booked it. I would have booked it like this. And boy, I wish they would have done that. It would have been so much better if they would have done this. And burbity, burbity, bur. And then there is an hour and a half tirade of how it's garbage, it sucks, you really wish they would have done things differently, man, I wish they would have done things differently, blah, blah, blue, differently, they could have done it this way and that way and the other. Great, enjoy the here and now, but like you're still going to bitch about it later. The point is, I'm not going to write it off. It's not like I'm saying this is garbage, it's stupid, gonna be dumb, bye. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. No. I'm not saying that. Like, great. I hope they do good. It's like Punk. This Wyat Sicks thing is just the same as CM Punk. I hope it succeeds. I'm not necessarily gonna get my undies all aflame for it because I've seen what's happened in the past. Punk comes back and angry and hurt and angry. Okay, neat. Wyatt comes back. Like, this, your guys' gushing and blue-blowing and hoop-de-doing is a carbon copy. Go back. Anybody who's listening, you could have cut out the last half an hour. You didn't need to listen to it. Because if you've been listening to this podcast since day one, you've heard all of that twice already. One, when Bray came back from the Swamp Wizard into the Fiend, and two, when Bray came back from Fiend into whatever the heck he just was. Like, same exact carbon copy. They did it so right. The cinematic was great. Look at this doorway. I got chills. Oh, they're going to do it great. Going to be a phenom. Bing, bang, boom. Fantastic. But each and every time, it's swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, where at the end of the day, all there is bitching at the end. Fed him to Goldberg in the boo blah. Fed him to Randy Orton in the Bing. Caught on fire, looked all droopy. Oh, boo blah blah. Came back against LA Knight, had a Mountain Dew weird ass pitch black light writing drippy dew all over my skin. Yeah. Oh boy. I do get tired of being able to say, I told you so. I get tired of it. Because it happens so frequently.
I don't think you really do.
No, I do. Because I'm telling you now. I've told you before. I'm telling you now. Like, don't get your panties all set ablaze because that's what you do. You get all starstruck. Your nips get all pointy. And you're like, oh, God, look at this thing. Look, oh. And then 5, 6, 7 months down the road, you're like, oh boy, look what they made. I hope this is good. I hope it's done well. I hope that finally, after the end of a thing that has to do with Bray Wyatt, everyone's going to be like, that was great. From start to finish, it was great. They did it wonderfully. I'm very happy. It existed. It came to an end. I'm happy the whole way through. If that happens, wonderful. Everyone is the better for it. Everyone is happy at the end of the day. But like, I just don't know that anybody can turn to me with a side eye and go, I don't know, ransom. Blah, blah, blah. It's happened before. And before that, it happened before. And before that, once again, it happened before. So a little skepticism on my part, I don't necessarily feel is unwarranted, unfounded, or unnecessary. It's not like every Bray Wyatt iteration has been knocked out of the park from start to finish. It started great. I love the Swamp Wizard. From start to finish, I thought the Swamp Wizard was great. I thought it was perfect. I didn't need any more than that. That could have continued on, but it didn't. But I'll say that the Swamp Wizard Bray Wyatt, the Wyatt family, start to finish, pleased, happily pleased. I thought it was wonderful.
Agreed.
Fiend, everybody got boners at the beginning. Oh, the Fiend! Oh, my dick's so hard! Blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, it was, oh, I can't believe they fed him to Goldberg. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I can't believe they fed him to Randy Orton. He looked all burned up. Oh, the Alexa Bliss with the blood big thing. Oh, WrestleMania's ruined. I don't know what the hell happened with this last iteration with Bray, if it was his personal issues or it was WWE not being able to pull the trigger. But like, again, it was like he came back, the white rabbit flabbit, he's in the door. Like, oh, this is amazing. Like, again, gushy, 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 gushy. And then just.
I think
okay,
I think this last time it was his health issues, man.
Okay,
like, I mean,
fine. That's fine, man. If it's his health issues, that's fine. Like, I'm not shitting on Bray. I'm just saying, like, I don't think a little bit of caution is unfounded in this. Like, no, and you're right. Used the whole, like, he should have been protected before. The Fiend should have been another Phenom. Like, it should have been, like, should have been. You've said that so many times. So, again, just like with CM Punk, because I've been hurt before. And if that's not a good reference or whatever, like, you've seen the writing on the wall. History repeats itself. If it happens once, fine. If it happens twice, it's a coincidence. If it happens 3 times, it's a pattern. I've seen the patterns emerge before. So I'm cautiously optimistic about where this is going to go. I'm not going to splurge yet. I'm going to let it marinate. If it turns out that it's wonderful, then fine. I will be the happiest person to say, I was cautiously optimistic for no reason. I should have dorked out from the beginning. Oh, well, I'll dork out now. Sorry, but I'm not going to be like, greatest cinematic wrestling harbor. I need a tissue. And then 5 months down the road, like, it just fizzles out and you're like, boy, where were all the, where's all the greatness now? Where's all the wonderful now? Hey, look, it's Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis wearing weird clothes wrestling in the ring. Okay, neat. Like, I'm going to temper my, climax until there's been a little finessing and I see where the night goes.
And that's absolutely fair. I think that's fair. No, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I think there's one factor that is not there. There's one thing that is different from every other iteration of a Bray Wyatt idea. Can anyone tell me what that is?
Triple H.
I was to say Vince McMahon not being there.
Vince McMahon not fucking being there. And that's why I think Triple H is smart enough to realize that in this case, it would be not only disrespectful to the memory of Bray Wyatt to not allow this to cook the way it should, but it would also be fucking hideous PR. Fucking hideous PR. I'm not even talking about it would be like, oh man, this would be a black mark. This would be terrible because people will not take it as him disrespecting the talent involved in this idea. It would be him disrespecting the memory of a dead, beloved wrestler.
Well, that's why I'm giving you cautious optimism out of Camp Ransom. I'm not writing. If this was still Vince McMahon era, no, I would have written this off day one that it started. Like, okay, great, you guys be excited about it. I'm not. I think it's going to be. I give a lot of credence to Triple H in the fact that I don't think he's going to do Bray dirty. I think a lot of the Swamp Wizard success came from Triple H cultivating the Wyatt family in NXT. So a lot of the optimism is because of Triple H and his involvement.
Sure. Same
with Punk. I'm not turning this into a Punk conversation. I'm just saying, like, same with Punk. That's where my, cautious optimism comes from, because I think things are going to be different for everybody, and especially with these two, whereas I probably would have written it off already. I think Triple H being there is it adds a lot of benefit.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, like,
ready go.
like Ransom said, cautious optimism, great. That I do have my reservations, like I expressed, making sure that it translates well. That's my biggest concern. I think, and again, if you watch the documentary, they addressed like why things fell off and stuff. With Bray's last run, it really did have to do with his health and other things just going on. So I think there was also the problem they said, like, Bray was such a creative tornado that he had all these great ideas and stuff, but it was almost like it was really uncontrolled. It was like he needed to be reined in a little bit, because he would have this fantastic idea, but as soon as something went a little bit wrong with it, he like abandoned it and like went to the next thing or whatever. And it's like, well, no, what were we doing about this thing over here? Let's talk about this a little bit more. And it's like, no, fuck that thing, fuck that. Let's go with this one. And it was just there wasn't a clear funnel to get things from point A to point B. Sometimes it got a little murky. And that's no knock to Bray. Like, some people are, some things just go that way. But I think, again, I'm very hopeful. I have my concerns, about a few things, but the biggest, like Poot said, the biggest factor is Vince is not there. I think you have somebody with Triple H who's, way more open-minded to some ideas that may be a little bit outside the box, or that, maybe at a very first glance, the some people might not get, but if you give it a minute and let it breathe, I think you'll bring a lot of people into it. And I think I hate to say this is not saying that they're like, milking the sympathy of Wyndham's passing or anything like that or whatever, but I think this thing will already have some sort of modicum of success because of the fact of how it's being presented as, as kind of carrying on Bray's legacy. I don't think fans are just gonna immediately like just start shitting on it or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're already a little ahead of the power curve in that sense, and it's obviously sad why that is the case, but the fact that there's enough respect and reverence for Bray, I think, from the fans and from everybody involved, I think it makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with the idea of everything being presented and and very optimistic for what's going to happen ahead.
I just feel bad that Chad Gable had to sacrifice himself for this thing to happen.
Well, that's why Sammy that's why Sammy retained the Intercontinental title. You can't kill the fucking IC champ, right? Because then you got to vacate the title, and then it's a big fucking hoop.
You could, but you have to pull an AEW and hold a tournament or have an interim champion until the resurrection's complete.
Another fucking tournament.
The old champion comes back, and I don't know. I just can't.
When are we going to talk about the fact that the last two people to sign new WWE contracts have quit and have been killed, both in the same night? Like, clearly, this is all about Triple H Mafia. Like, there's no accidents here, man. Triple H is pulling the strings on the Wyat Sicks.
Wait, who quit?
Yeah,
because Chad Gable.
The buzzers were gay from the start. Drew
McIntyre. All right, that works.
But outside of my fake ass Alex Jones podcast coming 2025,
Subscribe.
I want to so bad and just go off on like these fucking weird ass fucking like wrestling tangents that make no fucking sense and just pretend to be this fucking like right wing fucking windbag like Mark Madden or Alex Jones and go fucking crazy and drive people nuts. Anyway,
that already exists.
You'd have a permanent subscriber, man. I'd be a loyal listener.
That already exists. It's Jim Cornette. What are you fucking talking about?
That's fair. That's fair. So like Ransom, I'm even though I walked it back and I said that like I take it back and I'm in and it's great and everything. I definitely have that same cautious optimism. I think I'm a little bit more like enamored because they did such a good job on Monday night.
They did.
And I know, like, they have done such a good job before, and look where it's landed us. I get it. And I have hope for the Triple H regime. Oh my god. Regime.
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, right. But there is still some shit that drives me fucking bananas. Like, for example, why did we need feel the need to take the titles off of Jay and Bianca? I understand that Alba went through a terrible tragedy. Good on her. And honestly, real talk, I am more excited for her and Isla Dawn as champions anyway. But like Jade and Bianca kind of came and went, and I thought they're going to be this big fucking explosive burnout, and there wasn't. They just kind of lost.
Yeah, that was
Chad
weird.
Gable, like he's had 27 Intercontinental Championship opportunities since Royal Rumble this year, and he's lost every single one of them.
Now he's dead.
Come on, man.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's dead.
Like on Chad Gable's tombstone, it will say 27-time Intercontinental Championship match loser. Rest in peace.
Oh dear.
Either give us a new GD challenger or fucking let Gable win one once in a while. Good lord.
He was, rest in peace. He was doing really good work as a heel, but now he's dead. So
yeah, so like the Triple H regime is not flawless.
No.
There are still things, again, I don't know that AJ Styles is the best challenger for Cody for 2 months in a row. I'd like to know what the hell they're doing with Tiffany Stratton. Ilya Dragunov kind of seems mired, mired in the mid card. So like there are definitely questions I have. But I am much more hopeful with the presentation of that kind of thing, that they have their eyes on long term versus short term. And Triple H has never led me wrong, except for when he was an active competitor and constantly burying talent with the golden shovel. That notwithstanding, I do think that he has an exciting brain for the game, and if he's like taking on confidants like Paul Heyman and like having those discussions, he is untouchable. But I just
Word life.
yeah. We'll see. But like for night one. So here's the other thing with the Wyat Sicks. I think the build was a little long, a little esoteric, and like there was a lot of shit that they hoped you caught. Little things here and there that like you had to go and research and it went to a separate website and you had to piece this together and this together. So like there was a lot of like backstory to it. So I don't like, and again, like that works for us. That works for the Reddit internet community that can like post, okay, here was this week's, QR code, here's what it means, blah 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 blah. Like, but for like, Sam fucking Jr. and fucking Darla B. Cena loving. Like,
Darla
the kids,
Cena loving.
You know me. Yeah, you know what I said. But
You
like
know
for the
me.
kids, for the
You don't
fucking
know me.
like for the fucking the casuals, I don't know. And that's why I was shocked that they went so far, like they went so far the other direction from where they normally go. At the end of Raw. So it's a bold gambit, and I think if they actually have the stones to back that shit up and support it and nurture that, it's gonna be good. I don't think that there's any ifs, ands, or buts unless Goldberg politics himself into beating
Stop
Uncle
it.
Howdy at Survivor Series.
Stop it.
Yeah, Goldberg, new
fine.
champ.
He's too busy angling for a fucking last match with Bret Hart. So
Good. Maybe they can fucking finish each other off then.
Jesus Christ, man.
Seriously.
If there
They can
were
double clothesline, kill each other, and be done with it. I don't care. Fucking end of list. Move on.
if there were justice in the world, man, I'll tell you what. Like few people have had a fall from grace like Bret Hart in my eyes. Growing up, he was like my hero in wrestling, and
You found a new piece of shit to believe in, CM Punk, so you could throw
It's
the old
true.
piece of shit aside.
That's accurate. I don't know, man. Like whiny Bret Hart was not the whiny Bret Hart was not what I needed. I think so. Like like I get it. Like and I don't begrudge him at all. Like he was handed a pretty fucking shitty sandwich. But like I think a lot of people are, and they just keep their fucking mouth shut and they just go about their business. So like,
Well,
dude,
not
you
Pretty
said your
Poo.
piece. You said your piece. Be done with it, man. It was fucking 20 years ago. WCW was just terrible. Goldberg is terrible, always terrible. So like, I don't know.
Hashtag
But
always terrible.
all that being said,
Goldberg's dead. Everyone's dead. Chad Gable's dead.
No.
all that being said, I would
Mass
pop. I would pop for a
All that
Goldberg
being
versus Bret Hart
dead.
match. I would pop for a Goldberg versus Bret Hart match at WrestleMania 2025.
Yeah, he'd kick him again, and this time his soul would leave his body.
Dude, he's Canadian. They don't have souls.
Oh, it's true, buddy.
Speaking of not having a soul, that was a bad segue. Let me try it again.
Fuck it.
Thinking of being
keep going.
bad at what you're doing, let's talk about Tony Khan.
He's got a soul. It's just covered in cocaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Go ahead.
I love AEW. I do. Night in,
AEW,
night
CM
out.
Punk.
Night in, night out. I think they produce the best wrestling on the planet, unheralded. However, I'm worried that like some of the things that they're doing is not great. And by some of the things, I mean all of the
Some.
things.
Oh,
A lot of
you
them.
like having
No,
45 people in the arena? Is that what you're talking
you
about?
know, I
Oh,
fuck that. I don't care if it's fucking 45 people or 45,000. A wrestling event's a wrestling event. Especially if it's fucking televised. Like Impact puts on great shows, and there's like 200 people there.
in
So
an appropriate sized arena.
that's fair. But you know, my point
Oh.
is my point remains that like I don't give a fuck how many people are in the audience, and the fucking WWE plebs that cling to that drive me fucking bananas.
A lot of bananas happening with you today.
Gonna pee.
Uh-huh. But like,
Get more
for
potassium in your life,
example,
homie.
for example, let's talk about the Young Bucks. I was intrigued at first. I was here for it, and I was like, okay, this is a neat little thing. But now I'm like, okay, this is like the fucking white collar NWO.
You mean corporate
Like
Young
this-
Bucks? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes,
And like,
Matthew,
corporate
Matthew and
Okada
Nicholas.
Matthew,
Like-
okay, gotcha.
sitting in Gorilla, like Okada like cut off the Acclaim's mic last night, and he was like, "Whoops, audio issues." Like you're basically the NWO, but like corporate. All right, that doesn't really work so well. And speaking of the Acclaimed, they of course have a tag team title match. I believe that's going to happen at Forbidden Door, and I am so ready to take a shower during that match because
Wow.
I don't think everybody loves the Acclaimed anymore because they fizzled it when they stuck them with an elderly old man clinging to his prime.
What, you mean you're not here for daddy ass?
I think the whole scissor me thing is stupid. I think it was hot at one point, and like everything else, they overplayed it. You know, whereas I think a team like Private Party would be super entertaining to see get that shot. I think a team like the Lucha Brothers would be and I know the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks have been done to fucking death. Okay. But like there are other teams beside the Acclaimed. You know,
It's AEW, are there?
yeah, man, like the fucking House of Black. Why can't we give them another like a shot at the tag team titles and let Alistair do his own thing?
Oh, I mean,
Malachi?
why not why not reunite Edge and Christian? Give them another title run.
Because Edge doesn't know how to fucking take a bump after fucking 30 years.
Commit.
That I don't think I had talked on the podcast about that. I'm sorry. It was the most grotesque thing I've ever seen. I was like, that man's leg is dust now. Fucking horrible.
Still better than Sid.
He
But
fucking
I mean, like,
snuffed
come on,
it.
dude.
Oh,
Like, come on, man.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
If you're gonna fucking jump off a cage, commit, because if you fucking piddle around and half-ass it, you're gonna kill yourself. And hey, look, he killed himself. So like,
Did he get hurt?
Oh yeah.
he
Who,
broke
Ed?
his tibia.
Adam
He
Cole?
broke his tibia.
Oh,
Yeah,
did he?
man.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. When
Yep,
I was
and-
watching that with my buddy Eric, and we were watching it, and he landed on his feet, and I went, he broke his leg. And Eric
Yeah.
goes, no, he didn't. He's still finishing the match. I went, he fucking broke his leg.
Oopsie daisy.
because apparently when you give an elbow drop, you land on your feet. I mean, you're not Randy Savage, Adam Copeland, so make a decision. I get it. Like, I've never jumped off a cage. I'm not one to talk. But I
What?
understand. I understand the purpose. I understand the idea behind committing to something.
Oh fuck.
Like even in like a non-physical sense, like you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out of anything, and it work. Like if you're gonna commit to something, fucking commit to it all in. And you know, maybe it blows up in your face. Maybe it's fucking awesome, but you know, if you half-ass it, of course it's going to fail. You know, so of course he was TNT champion. He beat Malachi Black on his way out with a broken leg. So good call there. There's just it's little things. It's little things that are driving me crazy. Will I get Forbidden Door? Absolutely. It's gonna be fucking Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. Of course, I'm gonna fucking watch that match. We're getting Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. again. Absolutely fucking awesome. So, like, absolutely, I'm still gonna support them because, again, I think competition in the wrestling world is better than not. So I'm gonna try to support that as much as possible. That said, I also recognize that there are tremendous flaws. So like
Whoa.
it's weird. I've never seen something to where like the pay-per-views can all be amazing, and I'm like, yeah, this is great. But then also like be worried about them 2 weeks later and go, this is weird. I don't like it, and this is dumb. I think so. So that I think a lot of people like conjure images of WCW. And I think the key difference is that WCW towards the end was not doing anything good at all. Um, I I had never seen this. Going back to the Brett Goldberg thing, I saw a video today of Brett's last appearance on Thunder, where he came out and talked about Goldberg ending his career, calling out calling out Bill Goldberg, and like basically having a worked segment worth a shoot fucking like script. And I'm like, what are we doing here, WCW? Like, why is this a thing? So like,
You idiots.
I'm not saying that AEW is heading for the fucking fire or anything. I just,
Do it
I
better. Figure it out.
I
Cautious
right.
pessimism.
I think much like their cocaine-ridden CEO, like they're all over. They're erratic.
Uh-huh.
Tony Khan's
So-
erratic, therefore AEW is erratic because there's nobody else to do anything in AEW other than Tony Khan. So if he's going to be back there being all psycho and erratic, that's what their product's going to look like. Some good, some bad.
Beef in the multiverse of wrestling. If I can go back to the fucking linchpin of kind of where I think we can all agree where the problem started, which was Brawl Out.
Yep.
Maybe Tony should have backed Punk and told the Young Bucks to, get keep the fucking nose out of it.
Surprise. Once again, it comes
Well,
back to
okay.
AEW and Punk was right and it should have been him and they should have sucked his dick.
Or maybe
Okay,
Tony Khan should have been a boss and fucking made a definitive decision instead of fucking pussyfooting it around.
Here's my point before I was interrupted, that if you follow that pathing, we don't have the Bucks using their EVP powers and acting like children. CM Punk, who had made huge fucking waves in WWE, returning, like big deal, could have had that same kind of momentum for AEW. I'll always wonder what if. What if they had tried to keep him happy? What if they had, told the Young Bucks to kick rocks? Because I think the Young Bucks are a little full of themselves, and I know a lot full of themselves.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: I think that Punk has a way better mind for wrestling, and I don't think the Young Bucks have that. I think the Young Bucks are sensational in the ring, and have pretty good characters. But like, as far as minds for the business go, I think they got lucky with a great group of talent to start, and have just been kind of rolling off of WWE scraps since.
Whoa.
So because
tell him when he's telling lies.
Outside of MJF, like what stars have they made?
Yeah.
Exactly
Well, I mean,
my point.
Edge is there, and Jericho's there, and Christian's
Uh-huh.
there, and
I don't know, man. I mean, you could argue Jack Perry. You could argue Darby Allin.
Darby
yeah,
Allin.
Sting was there.
I'll give you Darby Allin.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Jack Perry yet. I need to see a lot more from him. I think that he has a bright future, but I also thought that 4 years ago.
Here's the problem with AEW and that what you just mentioned about like making the new stars. And this is not me by any means being an AEW apologist, but I'm just gonna play devil's advocate and say, think about this though. How old is the company? It's like what,
5 years. Yeah, they'll be 6 years in the fall. Yeah.
Right, 6 years. Okay, they're still babies, man. I'm not by any means dismissing anything and calling it growing pains and stuff like that. Like, okay, as a company, they're still very, 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 very young. Yes, but they also have a lot of veteran presence, a la all the names that we were mentioning that have come from WWE that have experience with live TV and everything like that. You have your Jerichos, you have your Edges and Christians, you got your Mark Henrys, and your Billy Gunn and everybody like that. You have wealths of knowledge from the business. And like we said before, I think the thing is they need to fucking tamper things down a little bit more backstage and have Tony Khan have somebody else, a la like how Vince had Triple H running the creative and stuff like that. You need somebody else there. Tony can't do it all. And like Ransom said, if he's erratic or he appears erratic, then the product is going to appear that way too. You know what I mean? Like, it's you need some more backstage buffering going on there. And I don't know. It's
non-wrestlers too. You need non-wrestlers or non-active wrestlers. Like
non-active, yes.
Dean Malenko's back there. Like, let Dino have some fucking say in some shit, because that dude was fucking incredible.
He knows what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, I to the same point, like the fact I'll use, like I said, the company is only 6 years old, both to their credit and their detriment. To their detriment because they've obviously got some fucking work to do. They started off super hot and then kind of dipped off a little bit, then got hot again, and then fucking Brawl Out happened, and now we're kind of like back down in a valley of things. They have all the talent in the world. They have wealths of knowledge backstage. They've got it's one of those, like, you've got the talent and you've got the ability. They just need fucking focus and direction.
The guidance.
And they need the guidance. But to their credit, look at what they've been able to accomplish, being viable competition to the juggernaut that is WWE, that's been around for over 50 years. Like, that's impressive. Like, TNA didn't fucking do that for how long? Ring of Honor sure as fuck didn't do that for how long? Like, AEW created viable competition. So, I'll give them their criticism, and I'll also give them their flowers too. I'll give credit where credit is due. It's just, nothing. Obviously, nothing's perfect, but their flaws are a lot more glaring when fucking Triple H, is fucking coming out smelling like roses, firing on all cylinders, premium live event after premium live event. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to see. It's easy to see, how ugly one thing looks when you have something very beautiful right next to it. So, I'll still.
He's a tough act to follow.
What's that?
He's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Triple H.
Yeah.
So let me put this into perspective, because you said something interesting there about them being a viable alternative and being competition. They were competition for WWE's third brand, the developmental brand. And I understand that at the time it was not necessarily developmental, that they took a hard turn after losing the Wednesday Night War.
Well, not even just the developmental. I mean, like, fucking Dean Ambrose, a la John Moxley was the first, like, main roster star to fucking go, besides Jericho. Like, it was just...
No. So here's my point. Let me blow your mind. TNA had their peak was 2.9 million viewers, which is about 2 million viewers more than AEW has ever brought in. And yes, that was with their move to Monday nights. That was with Hogan coming in and everything else.
Brother.
But like, that was competition. AEW drawing 7 to 9K is passable, but like, I feel like them getting, because TNA had to work for that shit, and then they fell down the fucking ladder and have had to work their way back. And I think that looping this around, like, that's a babyface story. Like, that's how you build character. AEW coming out the gate so hot and having so much success, with All In, and with All In last year, with Dynamite's initial foray, I think if anything that actually works to their detriment, because now they've fallen off and they're having trouble getting back to those same numbers. Because you were like, hey, this is working. Awesome. And when it stopped working, you go, fuck. I don't know what to do with my hands. Fuck. Like, CM Punk just punched who? What just happened? Fuck. I'm scared for my life. So, like, they're, and again,
Scared
like,
for my life.
I'm not saying that they're in any danger of anything ever happening. Like, WB's very happy with them. I can tell you that Tony wants a better deal. That he wants a streaming deal. It sounds like, anyway. And I don't
Tell
think
Tony
he
to get
has.
bent.
Yeah, I don't think he has the.
He ain't got the juice.
Yeah, I think WB's like, hey, you're doing great, man. Like, you're doing great in your slot. Like, when there's not an NBA game or an NHL game or an NFL game, you're doing great for a Wednesday night from 8 to 10. Keep that up. But like, he doesn't hold the power. I think he wants to. And again, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom here. I'm trying to be a realist and say that, again, fucking All In's going to be tremendous. I have no doubt. Spoiler alert, I think that Ospreay is going to beat Swerve for the title, and I think we're getting Amdrag versus Ospreay at All In. I think that it's there's going to be some good stuff.
Yes, please.
But like, MJF comes back, right? And like, he's hot en fuego. He is on fire. People
Caliente.
people coming unglued for him, right? And then you put him in a match with Roosh on Dynamite. Not that there's anything wrong with Roosh, but like,
isn't there?
Half the crowd was chant. It was the chant was MJF, let's go Roosh. So like, immediately I feel like that's squandered. And then you have him facing and I'm gonna butcher the name Hechichirio, whatever the hell his name is, at
Hechichirio.
Because apparently Roosh was not, even though word was that like things are patched up between CMLL and AAA, apparently that's not the case, and Roosh was not allowed to work Forbidden Door. So they basically gave that pay-per-view match to us on free on Wednesday. But again, like, why bring MJF
sorry.
back if you're not ready to shoot him into that feud with Adam Cole? Or here's a better question: if you have Adam, if you know that Adam Cole is going to be ready by Wembley, which is probably going to happen, why not start MJF working his way through the Undisputed Kingdom? You know, have him start with Roddy Strong, have him get his licks on Wardlow. You know, just to bring him in and be like, hey, we're gonna have you face some Mexican luchador at Forbidden Door. Like, I don't understand that thought process. Like this, again, go back and watch his return at Double or Nothing. When I say Austin-esque, it felt like an Austin-esque pop. Like, the place came unglued for him. They were waiting for MJF to return, and I think in a month they've squandered that because they didn't follow up. He wasn't on TV the next week. They had him on TV a week later. Why? Like, have him come out, like, because the best Raws, and again, I am not known for my love for the Attitude Era, but like the best
What?
Raws from that era, like after Stone Cold won at a pay-per-view, he came out the next night on Raw and like did something fucking outlandish and garish and was awesome and it was crazy and unpredictable. They didn't take a week off. They didn't come back and say Steve Austin's appearing next week. Tune in live. No, man. Like fucking 9 p.m. hit. You heard the fucking glass. Here it comes. Here he fucking comes. Like, you never know what's gonna fucking happen. Like, and then again, I'm not trying to say that MJF is equivalent to Steve Austin. I think that they're both
Sounds like
great
you
in
are.
their own ways. I'm saying that AEW had a chance to have a very similar feel with this dude, like an anti-hero, but like someone who everybody wants to get behind. You know, he's our scumbag, and I think that they still have that. But like, if you kind of follow this out to its kind of finish here, like if we get Ospreay Danielson at All In, which is seeming likely because MJF's not even in the fucking Owen Hart Cup tournament. And you figure that MJF's probably going to have Adam Cole at Wembley Stadium because it makes sense because, I'm here for that. That's fine. But, like, you're not even going to have MJF in contention for a world title until the fall. And I think that that is a missed opportunity. And that's the kind of thing, that's one of those little things that I look at and go, man, like, AEW is awesome, but... life is good, but it could be better. I'll get off my soapbox now, but that's kind of something that's been really nagging at me as of late with AEW.
Not to prolong it in case anybody else wants to say something, but I'm curious. What do you think the root cause is? Do you think it's Tony Khan not knowing what to do? Do you think it's too many people politicking? Do you think it's too many inmates running the asylum? What do you think the cause of this is?
Why don't we go around and each give our opinion on why?
I feel that. Go ahead, Poot. Man with the idea. Let's hear from you first, buddy.
I'm the man with a plan.
Fired.
The Brian Kendrick. I think that it's a little bit of a hodgepodge, a amuse-bouche, if you will.
Amuse-bouche is an
from
appetizer.
every little. I understand that, but it's a little tiny bit of food, correct? From every little certain thing. So you're getting an appetizer from every single little thing. Also, look at Worldly Ransom over here. So anyway.
I like food.
My point, cookies. I think that it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of something from every single angle. I think part of it is the shine in general has worn off, and this was something that they were going to face. It happens with everything. Like,
Yeah.
eventually the honeymoon phase ends, right? And you have to go, all right, where are we now? It just happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. That shit happens. So that's part and parcel to it. I think it's also the fact that, like, Tony Khan not understanding how to be a boss and understanding how to look at people and go, because the impetus, it seemed, whenever all this kicked off, was we're going to let the inmates, quote unquote, run the asylum, in the sense of we're going to let the wrestlers have all the say over what they're doing, how things are going. And for a time, that shit worked. It doesn't hold water on the long term. You need some kind of guidance, and you need some kind of, like, you know, all right, what's going to happen now? You need structure. And I think that's part and parcel to it, is that he probably never wanted to backpedal on any of that. So he's just like, I guess I got to keep going. And thus, I think also going along with that, Tony Khan doesn't really have a backbone when it comes to standing up to his wrestlers, because he's such a fanboy. He doesn't want to make any of the wrestlers that he admires angry. He wants everyone to be happy. And I'm going to tell you from firsthand experience, when you try and make everybody happy, you make nobody happy. It's fucking terrible. So he has to start being a boss and being like, no, fuck you, shut up. And this is how we're doing things. And you like it, stick around. You don't like it, fuck yourself. Like, having that kind of thing. Like, that's what he has to do. So then I think the other thing is too, I think not having necessarily good long-term storytelling, and I'm not sitting here and saying it's a problem. Things never feel completely homogenous. Like, things don't feel super, like, you know, put together at a lot of times. AEW doesn't feel super kind of serial, in the sense of, like, it doesn't feel like it feels like there's interesting, compelling stories that get cut off at the knees, and then stories that are not necessarily terribly compelling seem to get all the time in the universe. I feel like they make too many calls. Now they're starting to do the thing, apparently, where they make these calls the day of, the hour before they air, which is very WCWE thing to do.
Oh, it's Vince.
Yeah. Well, it's also Vince, but in my mind, the first thing that jumps into my head is that kind of idea of, like, that's an AEW fucking thing to, or not an AEW, a WCW thing to do. Like, that's kind of how I see it. I think it also has to do with, I think it has to do with certain talents not being willing to give. I think it has to do with selfish booking. I think it has to do with leaning too hard into memes that you shouldn't lean into. I feel like the roster is too fucking bloated. That's a huge one. Like, I hate saying it, but they got to cut their roster down, man, because there's so much good talent that's not being utilized, or they're being relegated to the shows that arguably not a lot of people watch. Like, I think it's all these things kind of coming together, and it's creating this perfect storm right now. Plus, I think on top of that, the fact that WWE is kicking a lot of ass right now and being very compelling and interesting and unique, I think that's hard, because when AEW came around, WWE was in a very weakened state. It was in a very non-issue, like, it was like WWE sucks, but AEW is fucking killing it. And they kind of had it on easy street because they really didn't have anything that was, like, terribly opposing them too hard. Now, on the other hand, now the beast is awake and the beast is ready to fucking cook. Like, you know, that's kind of where it's at. So unless they do some serious pivoting, they do. Well, there was the post I put in the chat. It was about the Joe Hendry debut on NXT. I'm going to go back and find it so I don't get my numbers wrong, so we don't run into another 5-star Michelin chef fucking thing. Joe Hendry's debut on WWE NXT gained over 3.5 million views in just 15 hours on WWE's Twitter account. Fuck you, I'm not calling it X. That's more views than the debut on just Twitter. That's more views than the debuts of Okada, Ospreay, and Mercedes Moné combined, which have around 2 million. Nothing against those three talents, but I'm saying that's where we're at, guys. And I understand that Joe Hendry is a meme right now, like his song and everything like that. But Joe Hendry, I watched him back when he was the local hero, Joe Hendry, and he was bumping around the UK scene on like WCPW. Like, and I was like, this guy fucking gets it. He's hilarious. He's he's not just a comedy wrestler. He can go. He's interesting. He cuts a good promo and he has a good look. Lo and behold, years later, say his name and he fucking appears.
Oh, lo and behold.
That's kind of where I'm at. That's how I see it with AEW. So there you go.
What's that?
The question was, what is what's the biggest problem, or like why is AEW where they are?
I was making sure that you said my name because I heard you say something and then you like kind of cut out. No, it's okay.
Sorry.
I mean, I hate to give the simplistic, pretty much echo what Poot said, but yeah, I think it's pretty much that. It's a bunch of little things all adding up at just the most inopportune times. But I'd say it's just focus. They need to channel everything and focus and not come at it like a fucking cocaine riddled fucking booker. Like I don't know. I don't know how much more I could say other than what Poot already said, so I'll go with that.
Ransom, would you like to weigh in now, or would you like me to weigh in first?
No, I don't. I'm not sure what the problem is, other than I don't know. I feel like I've been saying it for a while, and I don't know if this is an answer, the answer, a wrong answer. But I think there needs to be somebody else there to assist in making decisions other than Tony Khan. I don't think he can do it by himself. I don't think it's beneficial to have active wrestlers making backstage decisions. I think he needs to surround himself with... he needs a team. Vince McMahon was the kind of guy who could have like Bruce Pritchard and JR sitting around the pool and coming up with things, because at the time that's who they were, and it worked. Tony Khan, I don't think, is a kind of guy that can be like, well, I've got Dean Malenko and me, and we're going to go ahead and rip torn. I think he needs a team. I think he needs more than just him and Dean. I think there needs to be a group of them, and the active wrestlers need to be able to have input, but at the end of the day, it's what the writing team says goes, and that's just what the active wrestlers are going to have to deal with. Like, I think there needs to be more authority in the back on the management side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to the point, since WCW was brought up earlier on, that was ultimately like their biggest downfall is they had a revolving door of management but none of who had really any experience with wrestling. Now, like at least in Tony Khan's case, like he's somebody who is a fan of the business, which is I think more than any of us could say for any of the fucking suits in the back of WCW. Like, you know, I don't. Some of them had no fucking idea what the hell to do with the wrestling company. You know, I don't know. Just
So
fucking yeah.
I'll say this. I mean, obviously, management is not the greatest. You know, Tony Khan, I think, needs more experience in being a manager. I think his dad let him, gave him his position on the Jaguars, and he didn't really have to earn anything or learn anything. So, I mean, and obviously, that. But here's, I think, is the crux of the issue. I've been singing TNA's praises for a while now, with good reason. They're very entertaining to watch. Not perfect, but they're entertaining. But there was a time, just before their big ratings boom that I mentioned, where they had this terrible habit of bringing in a WWE guy and immediately giving them the title. Happened with Angle, happened with Christian, happened with Bobby Lashley, Drew Galloway, and Drew Galloway was much later. But like, pick your poison. It happened with lots of people during a time whenever Samoa Joe and AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian should have been like the main guys. And I often wonder if they would have focused on their dudes and let the WWE expatriates come in, like if they may have been better off. So Tony Khan has that exact same kind of like wanderlust, where he'll go out and he'll get this big signing from WWE. Be it Keith Lee, be it Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, fucking Adam Copeland, Mercedes Moné. Like he gets these big names and they're exciting for a minute and then they're gone. And it's it is at the expense of their own wrestlers, which we kind of talked about them not making new stars, and that's kind of part and parcel. Guys like Private Party had to be put on the backswing
Wardlow.
so that they could do, Wardlow, another guy, a great example. And again, like, I'm not saying that Roddy Strong isn't good. He's amazing. I'm not saying that FTR is not good. They're amazing. But, like, also, like, maybe build some of your own guys to kind of have that kind of synergy. And I get it. Like, you can't please everybody. I understand that. I just feel like, they need to bet on themselves a little bit more. And I think, God willing, we're coming around on that. With them kind of positioning themselves with some of the best wrestlers in the world. Osprey, Mercedes, say what you will, Tony Storm, FTR. Like, these are people that are out of
Wait, Mercedes, speaking of a WWE wrestler that came in and immediately won the title.
Absolutely, 100%. And she's gonna win the New Japan Strong title next weekend too.
Okay.
So like, this is like absolutely, but like I think that they are positioning themselves for the future, which is an absolute win for them. But at the same time, like, we know that Ricochet is probably gonna show up. And who knows what's going on with Becky Lynch. We had that debate here, and we know that Tony Khan's going to throw the fucking bag at her. And if she were to decide to join, like, absolutely make that part of your, fucking program, right? So, and so, like, that's the issue, is that, like, things change so quickly in AEW. Who comes, who goes, that, like, it's almost impossible for long-term booking. And again, I think if they revisit themselves and kind of bet on the people that got them there, because a lot of those OGs are gone. Not a lot, but there are a ton. There are a lot of people who are not there anymore, that were there at the start. So I mean, obviously, like we said, clearly, management's an issue. Clearly, having a team there to support Tony Khan is going to be the best. But at the end of the day, I think it definitely comes down to the fact that, yeah, I mean, Tony Khan gets a new toy, he plays with it for 2 months, and then it's buried in the toy box. He's a child. He's a child. So that said, what do you guys think about doing some Stomp the Chumps?
Stop the bums!
If we got one, let's do it.
That's not what I meant to say.
Absolutely. From our friend, the Midcard Maniac, who is still hoarding his next appearance over us. In 1995, WWE started to do monthly pay-per-views called In Your House. At what event was the In Your House moniker dropped? Example: instead of In Your House Unforgiven, it would just be Unforgiven. It's a great question.
Oh boy.
In Your House. Oh, that was late 90s, I think it was.
Was it maybe Bad Blood jumps to mind? Because I know that In Your House Bad Blood existed, and I know that Bad Blood also existed.
It did, yeah. The last In Your House. I don't remember In Your House is happening after the WrestleMania where Steve Austin won his title.
Yep, agreed.
What was that? 13, 14, 14? 13?
14.
14. So it was definitely before then. Because I believe the pay-per-view after that, I don't remember what it was, but it was just a pay-per-view name. Like, it wasn't In Your House.
Backlash.
Yeah.
I think.
So, what was...
Wait, so
was that 98?
Oh.
99.
Was it... Oh, boy.
In Your Face? I mean, House?
Was it Rock Bottom? No. That would have been after that.
So wait, so is the question what was the last In Your House pay-per-view? Like, what was the...
No, what was the first, like, In Your House branded show?
Wait, I thought he said what the last one was.
In 1995, WWE started to do monthly event pay-per-views called In Your House. At what event was the In Your House moniker dropped?
Oh, dropped.
Yes.
At what? Okay, so... Okay, so let's think of some of the obscure... Let's think of some of those, like, those ones back around in the 90s, like, what was, like, In Your House. So there was, like, Bad Blood, there was...
There was one called Fatal 4-Way, I know that for sure. In Your House, Beware of Dog. Like, there was some fucking Looney Tunes names that they had.
Was St. Valentine's Day was St. Valentine's Day Massacre an In Your House, or?
No, that would have been after. Because that was 99, I think. St. Valentine's Day Massacre was.
Yeah, that was 99.
Um. Yeah, so it would have been, I think, 97 would have.
No, I might have been wrong because In Your House, St. Valentine's Day Massacre wasn't In Your House.
Was
So
it?
I didn't.
Yeah,
So
it was. Yeah, it was St. Valentine's Day Massacre In Your House.
we need the year, right?
I think he's just looking for the event. I don't know. I think they may go part and parcel because yeah, they were like multiple bad bloods. You know.
What was his question? What was the last event?
What at what event was the In Your House dropped?
So I'm
So it
assuming
sounds
that
like-
means what's the last In Your House event?
No,
Yeah.
it sounds like what was the first. It sounds like it's what was the first.
What was the first In Your House?
No.
No. What was the first non in your? So what was the first In Your House event that became not In Your House? So here's
Well-
the question. In 1995, WWE started to do monthly pay-per-views called In Your House. At what event was the In Your House moniker dropped? Example, instead of In Your House Unforgiven, it would have just been Unforgiven.
So it would be.
Oh, Bad Blood.
It would be what's
No.
it would be what if you're going by that line of rationale, it would be what was the last one because I mean we can give them both if I don't know, but I look at
I think the last In Your House event was St. Valentine's Day Massacre. And I think I'm wrong. I think they had a number of pay-per-views that was just like Backlash, blah blah blah, blue blue blue, but they also had some In Your House events as well.
I think Backlash would have started, if I'm not mistaken. Backlash started,
I think
like
99.
right after St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
So therefore, answering both sides of this question, I think that the last In Your House event was In Your House St. Valentine's Day Massacre,
99.
and the first, yes,
Mhm.
and the first like monthly pay-per-view to be not branded In Your House was Backlash, which followed WrestleMania. What would that? 15.
15. So it went, just to cover all bases here, Pat, you sponge. It went St. Valentine's Day Massacre, In Your House, 99, WrestleMania 15, and then Backlash.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Pooh, you have a thought?
No, I'm just kind of taking it in. You guys are
Now
far better at this shit than I am.
Now he's not this. I don't want him to fucking trick us here, because didn't they revive the In Your House thing during the pandemic down in NXT?
Yeah.
They did.
But I'm not counting that. Like that can't
No,
count.
yeah. If that's his answer, bullshit, we win.
I'll just say that would be if he bonus points if he really wants to get technical, then the very last fucking the very last In Your House event would have been NXT In
was
Your House.
NXT In Your House. And again, if that's your answer, your wife is being stripped of the Chooseway title. So Amber, that's on your husband.
Wow. Beef
Uh,
just doing any way to just finagle that title.
I say that because I don't think that he'd say that. I think that this is like an honest to God question. He's not trying to trip us up with that.
All right.
But yes.
Them all
so
tripping balls.
let me remember.
We were locking that in.
Chlamydia. Oh.
I just want to be 100% sure
I just wanna be
that Backlash
You're
was the one that
the-
followed WrestleMania at that
Sugar Daddy.
point. I know for sure Backlash Aught was there.
Yeah, Backlash
I-
followed Mania 15.
Okay, then I'm good with that. Then the last branded in your house event was in your house for St. Valentine's Day Massacre in your house, and the first one without that tagline would have been Backlash.
Backlash.
No backlash.
Backlash.
Let's do it. Hope you had to think for this one. We really didn't. WWE dropped the In Your House name with the 1999 St. Valentine's Day Massacre. There you go. So, Pat, how's it going? How's
How's it going? How you been?
How are you? We've taken a couple weeks off, so I know it's been a while since you've heard this. But the more things change, the more things stay the same. Even though your wife is probably going to be our new Cruiserweight champion, you still lose, sir. And you get
Nude.
nothing.
Wait, I did it wrong.
Something different. Something different.
Something different.
Oh, I had.
Poot. Poot. Poot.
Yes.
Wrap this son of a bitch up.
I'm wrapping the son of a bitch up like a burrito. We're burrito timing, and this was great discussion. It's great to have the four boys back in here. Links in the description. Check out all the sponsors: Tiger Bomb Tom, Full Wrestling, Wrestling Garage Sales, and other things. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part and parcel of this. And remember, it's impossible to accuse someone of being judgmental without being judgmental. Bye, everyone.